If this video resonated with you, we'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your country or city in the comments. It's amazing to see how this message connects people from around the world. Let's build a global community that values healing, self-awareness, and inner strength. Your thoughts matter here. What part of today's message spoke to you the most? Share it below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next step in this powerful journey. We're in this together. One comment, one connection, one transformation at a time. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why some words cut deeper than others, or why certain actions from people seem to shatter you from the inside out? We often think the pain we feel is caused by what others do to us, their betrayals, their silence, their rejections. But the truth is, the real source of your suffering isn't out there. It's inside. The world doesn't have to hurt you, not unless it touches something inside you that's already wounded. Pain is not born in the moment someone says something cruel. It is awakened. It is a reflection, an echo of something old, something unresolved. And the reason it hurts so badly now is because it reminds you of a time when you were powerless to protect yourself. Healing doesn't mean fixing yourself. It means facing what's hidden. You see, most people go through life trying to avoid pain. They build walls, wear masks, and do everything they can to keep the world from seeing their weakness. But in doing so, they also keep themselves from healing. They numb, they distract, they pretend, all in an effort to stay strong. But numbing doesn't make the pain disappear. It only buries it deeper. And the deeper it goes, the more power it has over you. What you avoid controls you. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist persists." And nowhere is that more true than with emotional pain. The things that still hurt you, they only do so because there's a part of you that hasn't been healed. When someone criticizes you and it ruins your entire day, it's not because their words are that powerful. It's because somewhere deep down, you already believed them. When someone abandons you and it feels like your whole world is collapsing, it's not just about the loss. It's about the old fear that maybe you were never worth staying for in the first place. But here's the good news. If the pain comes from within, then so does the healing. You don't need to change the world to stop hurting. You just need to understand what part of yourself is still bleeding. You need to look at your wounds with compassion, not shame. Because pain doesn't mean you're broken. It means there's something important asking for your attention. And when you finally listen, when you finally stop running and start feeling, that's when real strength begins to grow. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about reclaiming your power. Because once you understand that nothing outside of you has the power to define your worth, you'll start to realize that you are not a victim of your past. You are the healer of it. And that changes everything. If pain begins from within, then it makes sense that healing and strength must also rise from the same place. But here's where many people get stuck. After years of being hurt, misunderstood, or left behind, they start to believe that the only way to survive is to stop feeling altogether. They build walls so high, even they forget what's behind them. They call it strength, they call it independence, but deep down, it's fear. It's fear of being vulnerable again, fear of being open, fear of being seen for who they really are. And so they wear a mask, one that says, "I'm fine," even when they're not. But let me tell you something. Numbness is not strength. Pretending not to feel doesn't make you powerful. It only makes you disconnected. Disconnected from your emotions, from your truth, and ultimately from yourself. You don't become unshakable by pushing your pain away. You become unshakable by embracing it, learning from it, and integrating it into who you are. That's where real power begins, not in resistance, but in acceptance. Carl Jung taught us that the path to wholeness is not about avoiding darkness, but about meeting it face to face. You see, your shadows, the parts of yourself you've tried to hide, deny, or reject, they are not your enemies. They are simply the pieces of you that were left behind when you decided it wasn't safe to feel. But they're still there, waiting to be acknowledged. And until you do, they'll show up in ways you don't expect. In your relationships, in your reactions, in the quiet moments when you're alone and the mask slips off. So what does true strength look like? It looks like someone who can stand in their truth even when it's messy. It looks like someone who can feel deeply, cry openly, and still walk forward with clarity. It looks like someone who doesn't have to pretend to be perfect, because they know their worth isn't tied to being flawless. It's tied to being real. When you integrate all parts of yourself, the pain, the beauty, the anger, the hope, you stop being controlled by them. You're no longer at war with your own emotions. Instead, you become whole. You become steady. And in that steadiness, the world around you loses its power to shake you. So if you've spent your life thinking strength meant silence, I invite you to rethink that belief. True strength is not the absence of emotion. It's the ability to feel everything and still choose peace. That's the kind of power no one can take away from you. That's the kind of power that doesn't just survive, it transforms. Now that you understand, real strength comes from embracing your inner world, not denying it. There's another powerful truth you need to hear. Freedom doesn't come from controlling the outside world. It comes from becoming aware of your inner one. You see, so many of us spend our lives trying to manage everything around us, trying to be the best version of ourselves so others will treat us better, trying to say the right things, do the right things, anticipate every possible outcome, just to avoid getting hurt again. But here's the hard truth. No matter how hard you try, you can't control how the world treats you. People will still disappoint you. Life will still be unpredictable. The pain may still come. And the more you try to control it all, the more exhausted you become. Because control isn't freedom. It's a prison. A prison built from fear, from perfectionism, from the desperate hope that if you're just enough, nothing bad will happen. But that's not life. That's fear disguised as strategy. Carl Jung reminded us that true liberation doesn't come from manipulating our external circumstances. It comes from understanding what's happening inside. Because the things that truly shake us aren't what people say or do. It's what their words and actions awaken inside of us. That's why the same situation can destroy one person and barely affect another. It's never just about the moment. It's about what the moment touches within you. When you become aware of your patterns, when you finally start recognizing why certain things trigger you, why you shut down or lash out or feel abandoned, even when you're surrounded by people, that's when things begin to change. You're no longer reacting blindly. You're no longer a puppet to the emotions that used to control you. You start to pause, you breathe, you observe, and most importantly, you choose. That's what awareness gives you. Choice. Not to escape your feelings, but to respond with clarity instead of chaos. And the more you grow in that awareness, the less power the world has over you. People may still speak carelessly. Situations may still spiral. But you remain centered. Because now you know the storm isn't in front of you. It was always within. And you've stopped fighting it. You've started listening. So stop trying to micromanage life. Stop exhausting yourself trying to be untouchable. Real freedom begins when you stop protecting yourself from pain and start understanding the roots of it. You don't need more control. You need more clarity. Because with awareness, the things that used to break you no longer do. Once you've stopped clinging to control and started embracing awareness, a new path opens up. One that few people talk about, and even fewer are willing to walk. It's called individuation. The process of becoming who you truly are, not who the world told you to be. This is where the real transformation begins. It's not about adding something new to yourself. It's about peeling away everything that was never really you to begin with. The expectations, the roles, the masks, the version of yourself you created just to survive. Carl Jung called the persona a social mask, the face we put on to be liked, respected, or accepted. But the more we wear that mask, the more we forget what lies beneath it. Individuation is the slow, courageous act of removing it, layer by layer, until you're face to face with your real self, shadows and all. And yes, it's messy, yes, it's painful, but it's also freeing in a way that nothing else can ever be. You see, as long as you're living to meet other people's expectations, even unconsciously, you'll always feel disconnected, incomplete. You'll chase approval. You'll fear rejection. You'll base your worth on things outside of you. But when you begin the work of individuation, you stop asking, "What do they want me to be?" and start asking, "Who am I really?" And that question changes everything. Because the truth is, you were never meant to fit into someone else's mold. You were meant to become whole, to integrate both your light and your darkness, your courage and your fears, your desires and your doubts. You don't become powerful by being perfect. You become powerful by being complete. This path isn't glamorous. It's not a highlight reel. It's a quiet revolution inside of you. It's sitting with your pain instead of avoiding it. It's questioning your beliefs instead of blindly following them. It's choosing to grow even when staying the same feels safer. And along the way, you will outgrow people, places, even parts of yourself. Not because you're better than them, but because you're finally becoming real. Individuation isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to the self you've always been, the one you lost while trying to survive. And as you walk this path, something begins to shift. You stop needing to impress. You stop needing to be right. You stop needing to be seen in a certain light. Because now, you know yourself. And once you know who you are, no one can take that from you. That is the strength born from within. That is the freedom that awareness makes possible. And that is the moment you stop reacting to the world and start responding from your core, grounded, honest, and whole. As you walk the path of individuation, of peeling back the layers and returning to your truest self, you begin to realize something powerful. The strongest protection you can ever have is not emotional armor. It's awareness. It's not about building higher walls or becoming colder or tougher. In fact, the more you try to harden yourself, the more fragile you become. Because what keeps you grounded when the world shakes isn't how well you hide your emotions. It's how deeply you understand them. Most people spend their lives trying not to be affected. They say things like, "I don't care anymore," or "Nothing bothers me." But inside, they're still bleeding. The pain hasn't gone anywhere. It's just been buried, and buried pain doesn't heal. It festers. It shows up in anxiety, in defensiveness, in self-sabotage, in relationships that keep repeating the same patterns. The real problem was never that you felt too much. The problem was that you didn't know what to do with what you felt. But awareness changes that. When you begin to see your own patterns, to understand your triggers, to recognize the stories you've been telling yourself, the world loses its power to control you. Rejection doesn't feel like the end anymore, because now you know. It's touching something old, not defining something new. Criticism doesn't break you, because you've already faced the parts of yourself that once felt unworthy. Loss doesn't destroy you, because you've learned that nothing essential can be taken from you. Carl Jung said, "What you resist persists. What you accept transforms." And it's true. The moment you stop resisting your emotions, your pain, your truth, you stop being a puppet to them. Instead, you become an observer. You can feel without drowning. You can hurt without losing yourself. And that's what real power looks like. Awareness is what allows you to stay soft, yet unshaken. Open, yet protected. You're no longer guarding a wound. You've already healed it. So when life throws its weight at you, as it inevitably will, it doesn't find a place to land. Not because you're untouchable in a hardened way, but because everything it tries to strike has already been faced and integrated within you. And yes, this path may feel lonely at times. Not everyone will understand your growth. Some will say you've changed, and they'll be right. But you didn't change to please anyone. You changed to come home to yourself. In the end, your greatest strength will not come from how little you feel, but from how fully you know yourself. Because when you live with clarity, nothing and nobody can shake what's already whole. That's not just protection, that's peace, that's freedom, and that is the beginning of everything. If this message spoke to something deep inside you, I invite you to take a moment and share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us, where are you watching from? What part of this journey resonated with you the most? Was there a sentence, an idea, or a realization that made you pause and reflect? This space is more than just a video. It's a gathering of people who are choosing awareness over avoidance, healing over hiding, and wholeness over perfection. Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. You never know who you could help just by sharing your experience. Let's turn this section into a safe place for real conversations about pain, growth, clarity, and everything in between. Whether you're just beginning this path or have been walking it for years, your voice matters here. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. This journey doesn't end here. There's more to explore, more to uncover, and more ways to rise together. So go ahead, leave a comment, say hello, and let's walk this path with open eyes and open hearts.